We are live! This is episode number 1 of Savages in the Bronx. Live from Studio 54 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York. Airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. And welcome back to the show on this Monday, March the 15th, 2021. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by my co-host, Mr. Tom Wospil.
Good evening, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and considering that we've been doing some warm-ups over the last few weeks, this is finally it. We have consummated our podcast relationships, Tom. This is episode number 1. I don't care. As episode number 1 of Savages in the Bronx. 2 savages, 1 podcast. Very appropriate comment right there.
Neither of them in the Bronx, but, you know.
Yeah, of course. Neither from the Bronx. One from Staten Island. One from Staten Island. I pointed at you when I said the stat. One from New Jersey. The other from Staten Island, of course. Savages of the Bronx. What are we talking about here, Tom? We're talking Yankees. Because we're only going to talk about Yankees. That's the name of the game. Savages of the Bronx. The call out to the Aaron Boone blowout from Savages in the Box back in the, what was it, the 2019 season that he had that blow up. It was a magical thing that went viral, and it was great. But we're tributing that. And, of course, where the Yankees are playing the Bronx. Savages in the Bronx, and there you have. We got a podcast. Look at that. Congratulations to us.
We sure do.
But let's get into it. Now, obviously, the show is easy enough. We're talking Yankees, but let's talk about each other here. So Tom and I, we met at a current full-time job, and by the way, this is Tom's first official podcast, so congratulations to Tom. I've been doing this for a little over 10 years, a little too long for my liking, but we're baseball fans, we're softball teammates, we're pop collectors. He's got a ton of pop, Star Wars, and all this good stuff. I got like Game of Thrones going on, but we're also huge Yankee fans on top of it, which the show is all about. We're talking nothing but Yankees, all the fun, the shenanigans, the news, the injury reports, all that good stuff and more here on Savages in the Bronx. You ready, Tom?
No.
That's
sure.
good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's pretend this is another warm-up episode, even though it's the real deal. But anyway, you can follow us on Twitter, as you see below on our ticker there, at Savages Bronx. You can follow Tom at
Wospil54.
And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera. So let's get into it. We got Savage in the Bronx, but we're going to talk about some news happening in the Yankee world. We call it the Bronx is burning. So we got a few news topics to go over, and obviously it's the spring, so there's not a lot of big noteworthy topics, but the Yankees did play today. So let's have a spring training recap of today's game. The Yankees beating the Phillies 4-2. Domingo Germán looking great once again. 4 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, 0 earned in 3 hits given up. Giancarlo Stanton went 2 for 4 with 2 ribbies of his own. He's been batting .294 in the spring so far, so good looks from Stanton. And Gary Sanchez, 1 for 3 with a ribby single. So the Yankees are rolling with yet another victory in the spring. Tom, any takeaways from today's game?
Giancarlo still hitting the piss out of the ball.
Yes.
He hit, I think, 3 balls over exit velo, 100 miles an hour. He had that line out to left field. That was like, it's like a ball that's hit off the ground like it would hit the shortstop, but he hit it like to the wall, and then the left fielder caught it. So he's swinging a good bat. You know, I feel like such like old like little league flashbacks coming back, and we say like all you can do is hit it hard. You can't really control where it goes. And listen, if he keeps hitting the ball that hard, I'm not too worried. He's gonna find some grass. He's gonna hit some over the wall. He's gonna probably knock out a third baseman or 2. So I love what I'm seeing from him. You gotta love what you're still seeing from Sanchez. Getting that confidence back, the power stroke back. So feeling pretty good so far.
Yeah, the boys are looking good so far. Hopefully we can keep them all in one piece so far. Of course, there's been a couple of injuries early on in the spring. We mentioned before on the show, Clark Schmidt, Zach Britton. Unfortunately, our next topic, which we're going to get to in a couple of minutes, in Robinson Chirinos. But yeah, the Yankees are looking good. And mentioned in the chat here from NTook45, Germán looked filthy today. So Domingo Germán, who's got a lot riding on this spring. I mean, this is a guy who, obviously, we know the controversy. We know the deal with him. It's a guy that even Tom and I, when we talked about previewing the opening day roster, me and him both don't have him making it. But Germán's starting to turn some heads here, Tom. Do you feel any different about your stance on Germán possibly making the team, all personal animosity aside?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point he is the fifth starter. I think one of the big reasons I didn't have him in as my fifth starter in the for opening day essentially is I didn't think he was going to be ready. I mean, he didn't pitch all last year. You figured he was going to need some time to kind of build his arm back up, but 9 innings so far this spring. I think is it 13 Ks? He hasn't given up a run yet. He's been great. He's been better than he ever was before everything happened. So I think he absolutely is a fifth starter at this point. I think he'll keep it warm until they want to bring Devi in. I don't think they're going to let Devi. They were never going to let Devi throw 180 innings in the majors this year or something like that. So I think Devi was always going to come. All-star break times when they'll bring him up. Have him fresher, and then if Herman's still throwing well, then it'll be a good problem to have. We still have a bunch of older guys, and injuries are going to happen, but Herman's been great.
Yep, 100%. And more love from the chat here. We got, what's up, guys? Let's go Yankees. What's up, Savages? And I guess in reference to me and Tom not being from the Bronx, he says close enough to the Bronx. Well, hey, Staten Island is a borough of New York City, so is the Bronx, so we got that close proximity there. Moving on. Actually, wait, before we even move on, we have to make a note. Michael K., John Sterling, reunion broadcast, their first in over 20 years. That was fun to see this today on Yes Network. John and Michael K. back once again.
There's all the stories of how they don't like each other, but they've always kind of squashed saying that was never the case. It was, for a spring training game in March, it was still kind of special to hear those two together calling a game. I unfortunately only could really watch one inning today because of job and paycheck and all that kind of stuff. The inning I listened to was pretty clunky. They were interviewing Aaron Boone, and I feel like they didn't know who to Kay kept asking questions, and Sterling I feel like wasn't ready to jump in. So a lot of that has to do with the fact they're not sitting next to each other, but still really special to hear those two together. And Sterling's call at the end of the game was just hilarious.
Hilarious. And I think what he was going for there was that's John Sterling's spring training exhibition. Yankees win, the Yankees win call. So it's not a full Yankees win that we're going to hear in a few weeks starting at opening day, hopefully. So yeah, it was fun to see those two get back together, and I got another game I think next Monday as well, also on Yes. So if you missed today's game, you can catch them next week on the Yes Network. Cheap plug. Thank you guys. Next, moving on, we talked about him just before when we were kind of covering some injuries. But Robinson Chirinos, he will be undergoing surgery on Tuesday for the fractured wrist. He suffered his fractured right wrist, that is, his throwing wrist. So Chirinos brought on as a minor league non-roster invitee, potential competition for Kyle Higashioka. Of course, Chirinos has history with Garrett Cole with the Houston Astros. Chirinos is going to be now a non-factor in that, so that's Higgy's spot to lose.
Yeah, when we did our roster preview a couple weeks ago, we both had Higashioka as the backup catcher. But I think Chirinos at some point would have played a factor. Catching is is a position of obviously you're getting banged up. There's even if you're not going on the DL, you're going to take pitches, balls off the hand, and had to miss 3, 4, 5 days. So I think he was going to play. I think he still will at some point. We hope he gets better. Unfortunate injury, which seems always come around this spring. He'll factor in at some point though.
It seriously is a recurring segment every week, Tom. We've talked about a different injury every week, no matter how significant, insignificant, arguably. Yeah, Chirinos is done, so it's unfortunate. So we wish him a speedy recovery, of course, here from Savages in the Bronx. But yeah, it's Higashioka's spot now. That's without a doubt. And we'll see how the rest of the spring camp of the team at opening day wraps up. But there is actually one topic I wanted to bring to your attention here, and it's actually, I'll shout out mtook45 once again on Twitch and on Twitter. He was our guest on the last warm-up last week, so Matt Tooker, thanks again for joining us. But he brought to my attention of Lucas Litke, who might not be the most notable player in the game, and he's definitely not the most notable player, but he's making some waves in camp, left-handed reliever, veteran in the game, I believe 34 years old, or turning 34 very soon. So yeah, Lucas Litke, a possibility to crack the Yankees opening day roster. What do you think?
Yeah, he's about going to be 34 in like a week. He's been
early birthday.
happy early birthday, Lucas. And I know you love watching and listening, so appreciate your support.
Yeah, he's the third viewer.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, he couldn't be better in the spring than he's been. He's been perfect, or not. I mean, not perfect as in perfect game perfect, but he's been about as good as you can expect. 11. Right, I have it as 5 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts at this point. I'm not sure if Baseball Reference has that updated yet. I know he's been absolutely filthy. In the inning that I watched today, they asked Boone about him, and he even said, "Listen, he's been as good as you could hope." I think at this point with Britton down, I think he has a spot, in that bullpen. Just see what happens. Like the a bullpen, especially this year with like the weirdness of last year, a lot of guys are going to go through that bullpen. So if he comes in and he gives us 20, 15 innings, in the beginning of the year until something happens, awesome. As long as he can keep this magic going, I'd love to see it happen.
Licky one tour of duty, only with the Seattle Mariners in 4 seasons. He pitched to the tune of a 4.35 ERA, and that's in 89 innings pitched. So, yeah, it's a guy that I believe has a real shot at making this team. You just mentioned Zach Britton going down with the injury, so there is definitely a need for another left-hander in that bullpen. I like the idea of having this guy on this roster. They have a few guys competing for final bullpen spots, so it would be a nice story to see Licky make his return to the big leagues in pinstripes this season.
Absolutely. Always love a good journeyman story.
We love a good I guess he's technically not a journeyman, though, because he's only been with one team. I mean, he's been around the bigs, and I guess I could check that up, too.
No, he hasn't pitched since 2015. He had Tommy John surgery, I'm pretty sure. So, he and in 2015, he pitched one game, 2 1/3 innings, and then I imagine that's when he got hurt, and then, a reliever, probably he missed 2016 because of Tommy John, and then it's not like he was a some kind of these big time prospects or big time pitcher that people were just lining up to sign. He kind of kicked around the minors last year being weird, and here he is.
I mean, it's a very weird last name, and I honestly found out about the correct pronunciation of his last name today.
I just want to. I imagine Sterling can say it now, but I just want to hear Sterling say it. I mean,
it's a pretty easy name to pronounce, but if you look at the spelling, it doesn't sound like lit key. It's literally L-I-T key. That's how it sounds out. Angels, Reds, Orioles, Diamondbacks, Athletics, Yankees since his last tour of duty with the Mariners. So I don't know if that's considered journeyman. I think usually journeyman is 10 plus teams if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. He's been around.
You can take your definition and go somewhere else with it. He's a journeyman, and I'm excited that his journey is continuing in the Bronx.
What does the free stand for, Tom?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either. But hey, let's talk about let's talk about Twitch. Let's talk about YouTube, because after the show's over, if you've missed the live show, unlike MTook45 and Eserado 13, thanks for checking out the show live, boys. But if you missed the live show, you can check us out on Twitch. The show is usually up there for a couple of weeks. We're currently in the process of getting everything moved over to YouTube as well, so all our archived episodes will be up there. So I'll keep you guys all posted on the Twitter page. You continue to follow us on the @leading all confusing shows. Here we go. @Savages Bronx. Wow, amateur move on my end. @Savages Bronx Twitter page. This is my fault for having 2 shows on the same night.
I mean, you have no one to blame but yourself, and that goes for most things. So
that's not good. That's not good at all. All right, let's move on to our next segment. Why not? It's called "A Player to Be Named Later," where Tom and I are going to take turns in rattling off a different Yankee, maybe formidable, a notable player in baseball that donned the pinstripes at least once in his career. And this has been a fun segment we've been doing. So far, I've been flawless. I've usually, by the second hint, I'm like, all right, I know the guy. And it's usually with that jersey number. It always gets me all the time. Tom, I've stumped only one time. He came back the last time out. So let's see what he's got this time around. A player to be named later, Tom. Would you like to start?
Sure. I had originally looked up someone that you weren't going to get.
Okay. What was he going to get? I'm curious now. Okay.
I thought it's one of those guys that I had remembered, and I looked it up. I think he only played 13 games for the Yankees, so I was like, this is going to be a real rough one. So I went a different route than that.
Oh boy.
I went. You know what? But I think I went someone. We'll see how we do here. I went someone who won a World Series with the Yanks.
Okay, good start.
He was with the Yankees in from 2000 to 2003. So we're talking 4 years.
4 years with the Yankees, 2000 to 2003, and you just mentioned he pitched.
He is a pitcher, yes.
Okay. 2000, 2003. Wow. Let's go with Mike Stanton.
It was not Mike Stanton would be early. That's 90s.
Oh, he was a little earlier.
Yankees. So this is where I can really, I think, start to work you a little bit. If I go a little further back.
Okay. Give it to me. Number 2.
See, I wonder if I give you the jersey number, would it matter? Because it's how old it is. But you're so good with the jersey number. Well, you know what? Let's say. It looks like he actually wore 2 different numbers with the Yanks.
Oh man. So this is not the best of players.
So we're talking number 58 and number 38. I think 38 is what he wore primarily, from what I remember.
58, number 38. And he was a pitcher. You actually might stump me here. I can't. Brett Prinz?
It is not Brett Prinz. It's not.
I don't think he's
Freddie
significant
Prinze
enough
Jr.
to. I don't think he's significant
4
enough
years
to bring
with
up
the
on the
team.
show.
His third year, he barely pitched for him, but listen, 2001, he appeared in 37 games. That's a significant year.
Is that the third clue? He pitched in all those games.
No. So okay, I'll give you this one.
Okay.
He had a 15-year career. So he pitched a long
15-year career.
15-year career. This man.
Oh, that changes things. Okay.
His first 4 years with the Yankees. He then left the Yankees, did not return, but he pitched for 15 years. I'll give you one more after that.
Nah, we'll do it after the third. I usually take 3 clues. I think you might got me here, Tom.
He's someone from the other side of the other arm, but it reminds me of our new reliever Darren O'Day. A little bit of a sidearm submariner.
Graham Lloyd?
Nah, Graham Lloyd, that's another 90s.
All right. Then you got me.
We're looking for Randy Choate.
Randy Choate! M took 45, got it in the chat. Look at that. All right. Randy Choate.
He's one of those guys, he was never great with the Yankees. He never put up great numbers at all.
Uh-huh.
I think he's one of those early guys I remember blowing games and being like, they're bringing in Choate, and you just knew it was Choate.
Yeah, Choate has that typical.
It's a bad name for a pitcher because it's so close. Choke, he choked it away.
Last name,
not a great name.
No, not one bit. Not one bit. That is hysterical.
Randy Choate.
Randy Choate. Excellent job, buddy. That was good. You got me. All right. So I got yours. Okay, let's see which one we can start. Okay, so yours had 1 tour of duty with the Yankees from 2007 to 2009. He's an offensive player.
2007, 2009. So we have some. They won a World Series, though.
Also in the chat, Kratz was the heart and soul of the team that year because the boys want to shout out to Eric Kratz. So, Eric Kratz, we love you, buddy. Maybe he's going to be a name in this segment down the line.
Hopefully. 2007, 2009. I'm going to need something else.
Alrighty. He wore the number... All right, he wore 2 numbers, actually. He wore the number 17 and the number 28.
17.
I'll add another one as a B. He started his career with the Yankees.
I feel like I know this is not wrong, but didn't
start his career with the Yankees wore 17 and 28.
Started to 17 and 28.
He did, but this is obviously Tyler Austin was 2016.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know that. I was just like,
no, it's not.
For as weird as it sounds, when I hear 17 with the Yankees, I think of John Flaherty. That's like the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, that's a significant 17. Not the guy though.
No.
Esserado says Eric Kratz. It's definitely not Eric Kratz. I know there's a lot of love for Eric Kratz tonight, but not him.
2009, won a World Series.
It's also not Melky Cabrera.
No, Melky wore 28 though, didn't he? You're better with numbers.
I think he was like 53. I thought he was 28 and 53.
I was gonna say yeah, he did it. He'd have two. I need another one.
Alrighty, so he played with 3 teams in his career. He started with the Yankees, then moved on to the Cleveland Indians, then finished his career with the Tampa Bay Rays. This guy's primary positions included first base and corner outfield.
First base, corner, outfield.
We have a right answer in the chat.
Right answer in the chat. Can I see the chat? I don't see the chat. The Twitch chat.
That would be cheating, and now I will know.
Sure would be. It's not Tony Clark would have been earlier than that.
It's not Tony Clark. Not
earlier than that, yeah.
Not the representative.
I don't think you got me on this one. No. What we got?
It is Shelley Duncan.
Shelley Duncan. Ooh.
Shelley Duncan. Good job, and took 45.
Ball bastard.
And that Duncan baseball family. My significant thing of Shelley Duncan is that when he hit a home run, he would like elbow everybody. And I was afraid he was gonna put somebody on the then disabled list. But yeah, Shelley Duncan is my guy. Player to be named later. Ooh. So we got each other for the first time.
We did.
Wow. Hard. First episode in, we proved to all the Yankee fans listening in that we're not real Yankee fans. So,
well, see you, everyone.
You're lost, guys. Have a good night. We move on to our last segment, and before we do that, again, you can follow us on Twitter at SavagesBronx. At SavagesBronx, not the other one. At SavagesBronx on Twitter, where we're doing our current Rank the Yanks bit, where we've been talking about the best and worst Yankees opening day lineup since 1996. We've been ranking the worst to best. I think we have number 16 coming up. We're already almost halfway through it, so exciting stuff. Some fun lineups that we've been going through, some really crappy lineups we've been going through, but I think we're turning the chapter, Tom. We're seeing some good lineups now coming out.
Yeah, we're starting to see some better ones. It's a weird trend we've been seeing a lot of really good 1 to 6s, and then 7 to 9s just being like woof,
pitiful.
That is bad. So and one also horrible starting pitcher. On a lot of those actually really good. So
yeah, I mean today's with Brandon Drury, Neil Walker, and Tyler Austin at the bottom was pretty rough. That was arguably I think that could have been a little bit higher, but. Yeah, we went with number, I think, 17. So, yeah, that's what we've been doing. It's been rough. And also, the fun fact about these Yankee opening days lineup, so far, the Yankees have a losing record of the rankings. I think they're like 2-7 right now.
Oh, these are the bad lineups. So
these are the bad lineups. So it makes sense. So we're doing a good job. So there's a losing record right now. So there you go. Follow us on Twitter, at SavagesBronx. Anyway, our last segment of the night. We did it in our first warm-up episode. We're bringing it back for another one. It's called Today, Tomorrow, Forever, where Tom and I are going to go over some of our favorite moments of being Yankee fans and, what kind of like built us into becoming the fans we are today. And also, I got to call back to Garrett Cole, bringing his Yankee fan, Today, Tomorrow, Forever sign at his presser when he first signed with the Yankees. So, it's cool to see, somebody like him with the star power he has, still going back to when he was just a little kid, when he was a young guy, not in the game, aspiring to be a baseball player and just loving the Yankees as a Yankee fan. And that's what this show is about. There's 2 big Yankee fans, so we're going to give you a little bit of our backstory when it comes to becoming who we became. So let's start it off, Tom. Today, we're going to talk about going to Yankee games. I want to know, what was the first Yankee game you attended? What the last Yankee game you attended? And what do you miss the most about going to games?
So the first game, it was a bat day. I remember I had the bat at my dad's house back when back in my day, when they gave us at least like little league size bats. So it's pretty substantial bat. I know I used it in the backyard, so I like nicked up and stuff. that's definitely one of the first ones we had talked about this before. One of the ones I remember going to that game because I know I have the bat. First game I really, really remember going to was 1999 for David Cohen's perfect game. Just, the rarest of things to see in sports. I remember a lot of that game. So that's the first one. Last game I went to, I'm just going to say 2 games because they were back-to-back. I went to, for the first time I'm going to a playoff game, was in 2019. I went to game 1 and 2 of the ALDS. Game 1, I'm pretty sure I sat the furthest away from home plate you possibly could sit. And we were in the upper deck, left field, last row. There was, you can
totally get a ball up there. Absolutely.
You are. There's a point when you're there where like the Yankee Yankee Stadium lettering that's up on the wall, you're behind that. You are far back. Yankees won though, and they also went to game 2. Yankees won that as well. Didi hit that home run where he had that really weird reaction of him
everybody thought it was a foul ball,
and he's kind of threw the bat, and then it was a home run. The Bronx was burning that night. I'll tell you, those 2 nights.
Yeah,
really getting after it. A lot of fun. What am I looking forward to most? So, one of the things I've always, not always, I guess, but I love doing with baseball is going down to spring training. Before last year, I had gone every year since 2012. So I can't wait to get back next year. We actually booked our trip already, at least our where we're going to stay for next year. So I can't wait to get back down there. I can't recommend this enough. If you're a baseball fan, especially for someone in the Northeast or someone like Chicago, Milwaukee, someone where it's just terribly and bitter cold in the winter, to go down to Florida, or I guess if you're if your team's out in Arizona, to get to that warm weather, the beach, go to games, you get to talk to players. I have so many fun just spring training stories of just being able to, you're hanging around, you're hearing them practice. It's just different than any other sport. We get to interact that way. Get to go to the beach, get to, day drink. It's fantastic.
Everybody loves day drinking. I love day drinking. I kind of miss that. But yeah, spring training. Fantastic. I've never been down to spring training, so I feel like I'm not even a real baseball fan to even speak on this, but it's definitely one of those experiences that's a bucket list deal. I know Tom's been going down. Oh, there it is. There's the spring training logo there. I think, Tom, it's been 7 years in a row of doing spring training games before last year, before this year, rather? Oh,
2012, last year's, yeah. 2012 to 2019 we went down, so can't wait to get back at it.
Wild stuff. Hopefully that is a 2021 dream down there. And I'll probably see you down there, partner. Maybe we'll do a live Savages in the Bronx, if we're still friends and the FCC doesn't cancel our ass. But let's talk about my first Yankee game. I was, it was 2004. It was just a random Yankee game when they were playing the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And I remember, Aubrey Huff, your boy, hitting a home run off the right field foul pole.
We don't talk about Aubrey Huff on this show.
Tom loves Aubrey Huff, big fan. I remember being a little kid and going down to the Monument Park. This is at the old stadium, and batting practice was going on with the Rays, and this ball hits the side of the fence, and Tampa Bay Rays old third baseman back then, Jeff Blum. If you're a baseball fan, you know Jeff Blum. You are a baseball fan because nobody knows Jeff Blum. Jeff Blum picks up the ball and he tosses it to me. It was my first ever ball I got at a game. It was such a cool moment for me because I was I wasn't expecting this, a baseball being thrown my way when I wasn't even in my seats. So that was one of the first games. I think the Yankees lost that game, and I don't even remember it was an insignificant regular season game. They got killed by the Rays. The last game I ever attended, also in the 2019 playoffs, Game 4 of the ALCS. The Yankees lost to the Astros big. It was actually a game where Zach Greinke was on the mound for Houston. Masa Tanaka was on the mound for the Yankees. We were feeling good. We were feeling like the series was going to get tied up. And then the Yankees were going to go Game 5, hopefully take that, go up 3-2, headed back to Houston, but it was not the case. The Astros went on a scoring fest off Tanaka, but what made that game so significant was the last time we ever saw CC Sabathia on a mound. Literally threw until his arm could not go anymore. Real warrior moment for CC Sabathia, very emotionally driven moment, and we were all there clapping for him, some people crying for him. It was a really crazy game to be a part of, and what I miss most about going to Yankee games, honestly, the middle of the summer day games. I love that weather. I love this chilling up in the upper deck, having the best view with the best tasting beer. Definitely miss that environment. It's a chill day, but you're in tune to the game, but you also have a conversation with your buddy or whatnot. It's just one of those experiences that are so laid back, but you can't beat it.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But we're going to end the show. And on 8:30 on the dot, we want to thank you all for joining here on the first official edition, that is, of Savages in the Bronx. All the Twitch viewers, Esserado13, MTook45. Thank you guys for all your comments today. It was really appreciated. Our our Twitter followers, of course. Want to thank my family for putting up with all my nonsense for this Monday and every Monday moving forward at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Tom, anybody you want to thank before we let us go?
I want to thank myself for putting myself in this opportunity to succeed in such an illustrious podcast that we have started. I thank I grew up in a family of Yankee fans. A lot of them made the Yankee fan I am today. So, just thanks to all of them.
And if you want to rob Tom's house, look at all those balls behind him. That's a great place to start. Hey, we'll see you guys here next Monday. Take care.